Now we'd like to invite our friends from UPMC to the stage. Please join me in welcoming Jake Collins and April Weitzel from UPMC. Matt, good to see you. Thank you for coming. So, April is the Senior Manager of Digital Analytics at UPMC, and Jake here, thank you for joining us, the Director of Marketing Intelligence at UPMC. We're so grateful to have you. Please take a seat. So for us, of course, as fun it is using our own product, it's more fun to hear about how our customers are getting value out of the product. But before we start, curious, tell us a little bit about UPMC.
Sure, absolutely. So we are a 40 hospital provider system, seeing about, 350,000 inpatients a year in Western Pennsylvania, 1 million emergency department visits, 5 million outpatient visits. We have 87,000 employees, of which 5,000 are physicians, and 3.5 million members in our health plan. So we're a big health system, but more importantly, we're innovative. If you think back to our history, organ transplantation is something that we were a pioneer of. We have the largest COPE cancer network in the United States. So innovation is baked into what we do. We have a commercialization arm, and the challenge from our CMO has been bring that same good science, smart technology into the marketing department and help us engage our patients in a better way.
Very cool. It's always fun seeing all the different industries that get utility out of Domo. I knew pretty quickly I don't do blood, so I knew medicine was out of the picture for me, but it's pretty cool to see that analytics is super important. Now, April, running digital analytics, I know you've been doing that for a couple years. What are you guys focused on right now in your marketing department?
Yeah, of course. We're focusing on ROI of campaigns and rolling those up to a service line, to a hospital, and to the overall organization.
I think everyone, in marketing, if you hear the word ROI, our ears kind of perk up a little bit. So I'm curious, what are you thinking about ROI? How are you tracking and measuring it?
Sure, absolutely. So we have about 38 platforms flowing into Domo, a lot of them digital, traditional media spend, and we look at the attribution of a campaign, so which channel performed the best, and we optimize from there. And at that point, the success goes over to Jake's side of the house at the patient level.
Sure, so we look at then the patient data and try to directly attribute those people who are coming in the door to different marketing activities that we've taken so that we can really pressure test that ROI and come back and say confidently, this is a result of the actions that we have taken as an organization.
Yeah, that's very awesome. So I'm curious, what initially interested you in a solution like Digital 360?
You want to take that?
Yeah, go ahead, April.
We needed a place to see all of our data. Everything was siloed. Social had their data, traditional their data, and so on and so forth, and not to mention the multitude of platforms. So, for example, if anyone were to ask, well, what did Facebook do on this campaign? 2 hours later, here's what it did. Oh, can we match it against that campaign? Another 2 hours later. So the whole day is spent trying to see what Facebook did for 2 campaigns. Now it's a touch of a button to see what it's done across hundreds of campaigns. So that was the main goal on the digital side of
Very cool. Very cool. And I'm curious what features, the audience saw a couple new features that they haven't seen before. So far, what are you liking?
Sure, so the calendar has been a big hit with our CMO. He loves the ability, because we're one of those organizations where all of our senior executives are very engaged, right? They see a competitor's ad on television, or they're concerned that we don't have enough frequency, or maybe too much frequency. Dean loves that he can take it out on his phone and say, hey, look, no, here's where we're in market, filter it down to whatever we're looking at and say, and more importantly, here are the results that tied back to what we were doing while we were in market with those times. So it's increased the way our marketing organization can engage with the other parts of our organization and really put the power in the executive's hands.
Awesome. And one thing, the dynamic filtering, we spent a lot of time internally deciding how we should do that. What filters do we present to the organization to slice and dice the data? Tell me a little bit about that process for you.
That's the most exciting part in my world, the ability to filter from the date range, the campaign, even down to the creative that ran in which medium, which channel, all the way back up to the hospital, to the service line, and then again, back over to Jake's world, to the patient level. That's been the real game changer for us.
Awesome. And maybe for our last question, for folks in the audience, maybe give them a quick picture of what it looks like to implement a solution like this.
Sure, so for us, it took a lot of different pieces coming together, obviously different skill sets, people from the patient world like myself, people from the digital marketing side like April's team. You can't underestimate the value of executive support. It's really the vision of our CMO that we would use data and engage people in a different way, and that's been important. And then, of course, the platform, right? And it's when you bring all those pieces together, as well as the mountains of data that we as a healthcare organization have, that you can really start to do some interesting things and change the way that you materially operate your business.
Yeah,
Totally.
and we've got world-class agencies behind us, helping us implement, helping us do the media buys, the creative. So we're very fortunate that the buy-in is there at the executive level and it trickles down to everyone.
Very cool. Well, I understand you guys are leading a breakout session later today, so everyone in the audience, please tune into that. And one more round of applause for UPMC.
Thank you.